Rachel.
Jared.
This is 21-year-old Brandon Ryner standing alongside his two parents. For the last 6 hours, Brandon has been on the run from police after brutally killing his best friend.
Keep going. You jumped the fence. Head back towards Collinwood.
And as Brandon's parents learn their son is an alleged killer, all they can do is pray as they patiently wait for their son's fate.
He left a to-do list. Not a confession, not a prayer. A to-do list. Number 1, schedule his last 3 songs for YouTube. Number 2, vacuum. Number 3, laundry. His best friend's body was still warm and Brandon Ryner was planning his content calendar. Welcome to this channel where we do not just tell you what happened. We show you exactly how it happened. Why the investigation unfolded the way it did, what every piece of evidence legally means, and at the end of this video, we will deliver a complete verdict on every person involved in this case. Today, we are covering use of evidence, obstruction of justice, criminal investigation procedure, and the psychology of a calculated killer. Stay until the end because the details on that phone are worse than anything you are imagining right now. Aaron Davis was 21 years old. He had just graduated from Brigham Young University, an achievement that represented years of discipline, sacrifice, and genuine promise. He had a girlfriend in Alabama he was planning to visit. He had a future that was just beginning to open up in front of him. The night before his body was found buried in a cemetery wrapped in the sheets he had slept on, Aaron drove over 60 miles to visit his best friend, not a casual acquaintance, not a recent connection. His best friend since 5th grade. The kind of friendship that survives middle school awkwardness and college distance and every uncomfortable transition of early adulthood. Aaron was not just a victim. He was a son, a graduate, a boyfriend, a loyal friend who trusted the one person in the world he should have been able to trust completely, and that trust cost him everything. On a cold November morning in 2022, officers in Rome, Georgia discovered a ditched Toyota Prius sitting abandoned in a creek.
On a cold November morning in 2022, a ditched Toyota Prius would be discovered by officers in Rome, Georgia.
There's nothing. That's what I was looking for. There's nothing.
Why this car was ditched in the middle of a creek is something police were yet to figure out.
Y'all don't think he's in there?
No, I didn't. I can't go there.
Okay. Son's name's Aaron Davis. Supposed to be coming to Rome to see some friends and going to Alabama to see his girlfriend.
I don't think he made it there.
Nah. I wonder where he's at. Why his car down there?
Crazy thing is, there's nothing. I mean, there was no acceleration. It's almost like it just
rode off in there or something.
Yeah. Did it go all the way up in park or something? Yeah, I mean, there's lights on like it's, but it ain't running.
I rode over here to see what was going on. He was down there changing out the trash.
The lights were still on. The engine was not running. There was no sign of acceleration, no skid marks, no evidence of a crash. The car had simply been left there as if someone had parked it in the middle of a body of water and walked away. When officers ran the license plate, they discovered the vehicle belonged to Aaron Davis. Rome, Georgia is a small town and officers were already familiar with the name, so Lieutenant Sailors made the call to Aaron's father directly. Aaron's father confirmed his son had gone to visit a friend the night before and was supposed to drive to Alabama afterward to see his girlfriend.
And Sailors would give Aaron's father a call a few minutes later.
Then he's got to go up to visit his girlfriend in Alabama after that.
Okay. Yeah, can you see if you maybe can get a hold of him and check in with him, see where his car's supposed to be?
So you just found the car abandoned there?
Yeah, it's actually off in a little ditch. We're in the process of getting it out. I don't think there's anybody in it right now.
Aaron's car being ditched is just as much of a mystery to his father as it is for the police. However, he did have some useful details he was able to give the lieutenant following this call. The night prior to this footage, Aaron went to visit his longtime friend, Brandon Ryner. The two had been friends since middle school, and their friendship continued all the way through college. Aaron had just recently graduated from Brigham Young University, so his over 60-mile travel to visit Brandon was meant to celebrate the new start to adulthood. But ever since Aaron had left for Brandon's house, nobody had heard from him, and his phone would go straight to voicemail. All of these strange mysteries would lead Aaron's father to file a missing persons.
He had not heard from him. Nobody had. Every call went straight to voicemail. The missing persons report was filed and the investigation officially began. The last known person to have contact with Aaron Davis was his best friend Brandon Ryner, and so police called Brandon first. Brandon answered.
Most obviously, police would give Brandon Ryner a call, as he was supposedly the last person to have been in contact with Aaron.
Hey, I'm Lieutenant Sailor's Rome Police. You doing all right today?
Yes, I am. I'm looking for my friend right now.
Yeah, that's what I was calling about. You hadn't heard from him?
I have not. I've tried calling him and it's just gone straight to voicemail. And I heard he was at Heritage Park, so that's where I'm at right now. So I'm looking around. Do you guys know where the car was?
Yeah, it was in a ditch over there. When's the last time you saw Aaron?
I saw him last night.
About what time?
Well, we started drinking around like 12, noon. He started throwing up pretty bad. He told me to leave him alone. I guess I woke up around like 1 or 2 a.m. And that's when I saw that his car was gone.
All right. Well, if y'all hear from him, let us know, okay?
Yeah, thank you so much.
He was calm. He was cooperative. He said they had been drinking since noon, that Aaron got sick, threw up badly, told Brandon to leave him alone, and that when Brandon woke up between 1 and 2 in the morning, Aaron's car was gone. He said he was actively out looking for Aaron at that very moment. The story was clean. It was logical. It was completely consistent with the known facts. And it was a lie constructed with the cold precision of someone who had been rehearsing it. A few hours later, police showed up unannounced at Brandon's house
to get more answers about what happened the night before, this time face to face.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Officer Grower with the Rome Police Department. We're following up on all this. Can you walk me through what's going on? Just make sure we're all on the same page.
We started drinking around 12 yesterday.
Yeah, it's you and Aaron, right?
Yeah, me and Aaron.
Okay. Anyone else with you guys?
And we went to some bars, and I had bought some red wine.
Yeah.
And came back here, started drinking red wine. He doesn't drink too often, so
Yeah.
he had gone upstairs and was just puking everywhere to the toilet. It was like standing up and puking for some reason. I went downstairs and he told me that he doesn't need any help. I went downstairs, dropped a bottle, cut my pinky, and I went to the urgent care this morning, took a shower, went to bed.
Okay.
And then woke up.
Face to face this time. Brandon walked them through the same story again, same details, same calm delivery, same reasonable explanation for everything. He said Aaron did not drink often and got heavily intoxicated. He said he went downstairs, dropped a bottle, cut his finger, went to urgent care that morning. He said he woke up and the car was gone. Officers noted his demeanor as strange, but nothing in his account was technically impossible. A light drinker getting violently ill, driving off alone in the middle of the night, ditching his car in a creek. It was improbable but not unthinkable. So when officers asked if they could look inside the house, Brandon said no problem at all.
There's a significant amount of blood next to the bed, too. Decent. More than just vomit all the way over here. Looks like it's been there a while, but he could have been throwing up blood, I guess. See all that? It's weird to be throwing up blood like that. Not to mention, if he had alcohol poisoning, he wouldn't have been able to get up and move around this morning. Especially at 2 or 3 in the morning. Just poured powder right there, too.
That's it right now.
The cops are starting to find the whole scenario awfully suspicious. The odd story from Brandon, the puddles of blood in Aaron's room, the hundreds of dollars worth of cleaning supplies. It seems as though Brandon...
And that casual confidence was the first thing that should have alarmed everyone in that room, because innocent people who have nothing to hide do not typically invite police to search their homes with that kind of effortless ease, unless they believe they have already cleaned up everything worth finding. The officers moved through the house and immediately encountered the first anomaly. Several doors were locked, specifically the door to the room where Aaron had supposedly been sick. When Brandon was called inside to help navigate them to the room, the officers noticed something the moment they crossed the threshold: a strong chemical smell. Excessive cleaning supplies, far more than any household would reasonably have on hand, and then Past the cleaning supplies, past the chemical smell, past the locked doors, the body camera proves what no explanation could cover. A significant amount of blood next to the bed.
There's a significant amount of blood next to the bed, too. Decent. More than just vomit all the way over here. Looks like it's been there a while, but he could have been throwing up blood, I guess. See all that? It's weird to be throwing up blood like that. Not to mention, if he had alcohol poisoning, he wouldn't have been able to get up and move around this morning. Especially at 2 or 3 in the morning. Just poured powder right there, too.
That's it right now.
The cops are starting to find the whole scenario awfully suspicious. The odd story from Brandon, the puddles of blood in Aaron's room, the hundreds of dollars worth of cleaning supplies. It seems as though Brandon sensed—
Not a small stain. Not the kind of mark a person throwing up might leave. A puddle, spread across the carpet in a pattern that told officers everything they needed to know before a single word of forensics was spoken. One officer said it plainly on camera that is more than just vomit. The evidence is unambiguous. And in that moment, standing in that room with the chemical smell in the air and the blood on the carpet and the locked doors behind them, you can see the exact moment the officers realized this was no longer a missing persons case. This was a murder scene, and Brandon Ryner knew it. Because that is the moment he ran.
To do this.
Oh, my knees. Keep going. Hey, no, quick. Now. He jumped the fence, headed back towards Collinwood.
Somewhere between LaPorte and Eastnine, gotta be in these houses. Go up to the house, get in the backyard. Okay. Possible 1043.
He did not walk out. He did not ask to make a phone call. He jumped the fence behind the house and fled on foot through the neighborhood while officers scrambled to contain the perimeter. Their body language said everything as the radio calls went out. This was no longer confusion. This was pursuit. Brandon managed to escape, at least temporarily, disappearing into the surrounding streets while officers went door to door searching for any witness who might have seen where he went. During this search, one officer encountered a neighbor who happened to be on the phone with Brandon's father, Jeremy Ryner, at that exact moment.
In this effort, one officer encountered a neighbor who happened to be on a call with Brandon's father, Jeremy. Quickly, the officer took the phone to speak with him directly.
Hey, sir, I'm Lieutenant Sailor from Police.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Reisner, the homeowner,
Yes,
and my Brandon's father.
Yeah, we're probably going to need to talk to Brandon. Do you know where he is?
No, I thought he was still at home. Now, earlier we had told him maybe drive around the areas where they normally hang out and try to look for him, for Aaron. Okay, we'll keep trying to get hold of him. We're still about an hour away, working our way there.
Even Jeremy was clueless regarding Brandon's whereabouts, and seemingly so was everyone else, as an entire hour would go by with Brandon nowhere to be.
The officer took the phone. Jeremy said he had no idea where Brandon was. He said he thought Brandon was still at home. He said he was an hour away and driving toward Rome. He seemed cooperative. He seemed concerned. And then Jeremy arrived at the house and everything changed. Jeremy found Brandon's phone.
Yeah.
While trying his best to assist the police with the investigation, Jeremy would return to his house, where he discovered Brandon's phone. Up until that point, Jeremy had been doing everything he could to help the police track down his son. However, after finding the phone, his cooperation came to a sudden stop. He refused to hand the phone over, leaving police to wonder, had he seen—
This is the moment this entire case pivots on, and it is the moment that most coverage of this story rushes past without giving it the full weight it deserves. Think carefully about what this means. A father arrives at his son's house during an active police investigation into a missing person. Officers are searching the property. His son has fled. There is blood on the floor upstairs, and Jeremy finds his son's phone and decides not to hand it to police. He does not smash it. He does not hide it. He holds it, and he reads what is on it, and something he sees on that phone transforms him from a cooperative father trying to help find his son into a man who will not take another step toward accountability. When officers approached Jeremy and asked him directly to surrender the phone, he said his gut said yes, but he was not sure. He asked if they had a warrant.
Police spoke to him again. His demeanor would shift dramatically.
What's the status? All right, so first of all, I understand you found his cell phone. That's right. You want to turn that over to us?
Maybe.
Okay.
I do. My gut says yes, but at the same time,
yeah. I mean, we
I don't know.
We'll probably need to go through it and see at least maybe where he's been today. There is a significant amount of blood in that upstairs bedroom and on the carpet. But I wanted to be straight up with you. Not come home and find that. Okay.
No, I appreciate that. Do you have a warrant that would include the phone?
No, we'd have to get one at some point, so we couldn't go into it without that. So,
some text back and forth.
Maybe something helps, then
I know.
Helps him, But I can't promise you that because I don't.
No, I know.
Yeah, I don't know what I was in there, so
I want to. I was
I know as a father, I understand.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm gonna keep walking.
Something had changed. Whatever was on that phone had to be disturbed.
They did not. He said he was going to keep walking. That was the moment. That single exchange, Jeremy turning away from officers with his son's phone in his hand, is the viral moment of this entire case because it is the moment a father looked at evidence of what his son had done and made a choice. Not a legal choice. Not a moral choice. A survival choice. And you can see the exact moment the investigating officer realizes what that choice means because his tone shifts immediately after Jeremy walks away.
To be disturbing. And the officer seemed to have caught on to this as well.
Because he doesn't know what's going on. But he seemed a little shocked that we're at his house. He seemed respectful in the sense that he was okay with us being at his house and doing what we needed to do. I couldn't really get a feel for him. He may just be covering for his kid. He's gotta be. Him having the phone not being shattered tells me that his son handed it to him. So he found the phone, tells us that he found the phone, but doesn't want to give it to us without a search warrant.
Text messages not there.
Probably. He was telling Randy that there were texts in there about him asking for if anyone had seen Aaron. I wonder if those texts were sent since we've been here though.
These officers were spot on with their theory. On the phone, Brandon would leave.
The officer says on camera that something had changed, that Jeremy seemed shocked they were at the house, that the fact the phone was not shattered told him Brandon had handed it to his father deliberately. The phone was not destroyed because Brandon wanted his father to find it. And whatever Jeremy read on that phone, it broke something in him that hours of police questioning had not touched. What was on that phone was this.
Brandon would leave an array of horrifying notes, such as, his scream became a gargle as he swallowed his tongue. I like dark places where my mind melts. It feels so good and I feel so cool. My brain's a waterfall running out of my nose like drool. I can turn myself on in the blink of an eye. They notified me as the smartest man alive. Additionally, he would leave a to-do list following the murder of Aaron. 1. Schedule last 3 songs. This was in reference to his YouTube channel where he would post his music. 2. Vacuum. 3. Laundry. 4. Shower in my shower. 5. Take bath. Tomorrow. 1. Text Rachel that Aaron threw up horribly. I think there was some blood in it. 2. I woke up and he was gone. Whether or not these exact messages were what alarmed Jeremy is unknown, but something on that phone made it clear to him that Brandon had killed Aaron. And just an hour later, Jeremy would call police, detailing that he was with Brandon and that he was willing to surrender.
Brandon Ryner had left notes, not a confession addressed to police. Personal notes written in the voice of someone describing an experience they found pleasurable. His scream became a gargle as he swallowed his tongue. I like dark places where my mind melts. It feels so good and I feel so cool. My brain is a waterfall running out of my nose like drool. I can turn myself on in the blink of an eye. They notified me as the smartest man alive. These were not the writings of someone in crisis. These were not the words of a person who had lost control in a moment of rage and was now processing guilt. These were the documented thoughts of someone who had experienced violence against another human being and found it satisfying, and who had immediately afterward written a to-do list that included scheduling YouTube uploads, doing laundry, and texting a girl named Rachel to say that Aaron threw up horribly and that there might have been some blood in it. This is a pattern, not an incident. This is calculated, documented, self-satisfied premeditation captured in Brandon Ryner's own words on his own device. Whatever Jeremy saw on that phone, it took less than an hour for him to call police and tell them he was with Brandon and that Brandon was willing to surrender. 25 minutes later, Brandon and both his parents arrived at the police station. Brandon walked in. He sat down. Detective York read him his Miranda rights, and Brandon immediately requested an attorney and said nothing further. He was smart enough to know that silence in that room was his only legal protection, and he exercised it without hesitation or visible emotion. Officers noted that Brandon remained eerily calm throughout the entire booking process, completely unaffected by the magnitude of what was happening around him. While Brandon sat silent, his father, Jeremy, began talking to the detective and provided the single most critical piece of information in the entire case.
We can go right now. Get your fucking body. I can take you out. Try to show you. I can try to show you. You can try to show us the general area, yeah. Okay. There's an old cemetery up the hill. You turn left. Trendle, something like Trendle. Okay. We can show you all that.
This statement from Jeremy was crucial information to track down Aaron's body. But as valuable as this information is, the detective recognized the importance of capitalizing on the opportunity to gather as much from Jeremy as possible while he remained cooperative. With this in mind, he shifted his focus to delving deeper into Brandon's personal life before turning to search for the body.
Brandon had brought him home from college because he was having anxiety attacks, he was having suicidal thoughts, he was having visions. Brought him home to make him safe. Gotta get his medications right. Got a call from.
He described an old cemetery. He said there was a hill, you turn left, something like Trentville. He said he could try to show them the general area. That statement from Jeremy was the moment the investigation broke open completely, because police now had a location and every available officer was redirected to search it. Aaron Davis was found in that cemetery.
All hands went on deck to search the cemetery Jeremy had described. Aaron was found buried in the cemetery, behind a secluded area in the back of the property. Even worse was that his body was wrapped inside the very sheets he slept on in Brandon's house. The speculation had come to an end. Brandon Ryner was a cold-blooded murderer. Right after this discovery, Brandon was placed under arrest for the murder of Aaron Davis and transported to the local prison. But the cops found his behavior very unconventional.
Stand right there. Come on.
Go up to the counter, right? Let them follow their instructions. This is his property. You got ID in here if you want. For me? No, we're talking to him. Oh. You got your ID in there. Oh, yeah.
Officers stated that Brandon remained eerily calm while being transported and seemed completely unfazed by the entire situation. And while Brandon had been successfully captured and the case had seemingly came to a successful conclusion, officers had one tragic duty to complete before the end of the day: break the news to Aaron's parents that their son had been murdered.
Any questions here? Yep. I don't know a whole lot because I'm not. I've been here doing a lot of research. Be specific.
Why would he do that? Why do you do that? We need my son. The family needs him. Oh my God.
Buried in a secluded area at the back of the property, wrapped in the sheets from Brandon's house. The sheets Aaron had slept on the night he drove 60 miles to celebrate his graduation with his best friend. The speculation ended there in that cemetery in Rome, Georgia on a November afternoon in 2022. Brandon Ryner was a calculated cold-blooded murderer, and the evidence assembled against him was overwhelming, documented, and in several critical instances written in his own hand. Brandon Ryner was arrested and charged with the murder of Aaron Davis.
No, I wasn't talking to him. You got your ID in it. Oh, yeah.
Officers stated that Brandon remained eerily calm while being transported and seemed completely unfazed by the entire situation. And while Brandon had been successfully captured and the case had seemingly came to a successful conclusion, officers had one tragic duty to complete before the end of the day: break the news to Aaron's parents that their son had been murdered.
The case against him included the blood evidence recovered from the bedroom, the chemical cleaning supplies consistent with an attempt to destroy forensic evidence, the written notes recovered from his phone describing the killing in explicit detail, the to-do list composed in the immediate aftermath of Aaron's death, and the location of Aaron's buried body provided by Brandon's own father. Jeremy's cooperation with police regarding the cemetery location, while significant, does not erase the hours he spent withholding the phone from investigators, hours during which critical time was lost, and during which whatever evidence may have existed on that device was potentially compromised. Whether Jeremy's decision to read the phone before surrendering it constituted obstruction in any legally actionable sense is a matter for prosecutors to determine, but the moral weight of that decision sits heavily on this case regardless of its legal classification. Brandon Ryner receives the only verdict this evidence supports. He is a murderer. He killed his best friend of over a decade, buried the body wrapped in household sheets, composed written notes describing the killing with apparent satisfaction, constructed a plausible false narrative, and delivered it to police with practiced calm. Fled from officers the moment forensic discovery became inevitable, and then sat in an interrogation room and said nothing while his father gave up the location of the body he had hidden. If there is a word beyond cold-blooded, it applies here, and the full weight of the law that now surrounds him is not sufficient to account for what Aaron Davis lost and what Aaron's family will carry for the rest of their lives. Aaron Davis receives no grade. He drove 60 miles to celebrate with someone he trusted. He deserved to come home. Jeremy Ryner receives no grade either, but his role in this case demands to be named clearly. He found that phone. He read what was on it. He made a choice to hold it. And then an hour later, he made a different choice, and that second choice is the reason Aaron's family knows where their son is buried. Both of those things are true, and both of them matter. Lieutenant Sailors and the Rome, Georgia investigators who worked this case receive full commendation for methodical, patient, and legally sound police work that never overreached, never fabricated, and built a case on documented evidence that will not collapse under scrutiny. In a niche full of stories about what happens when law enforcement fails the people it serves, this investigation is what it looks like when it works. Every parent who watches this video and thinks they know what they would do if they found something like that on their child's phone should sit with the fact that Jeremy Ryner spent hours deciding, and that the decision he eventually made was the right one, and that it still came too late to save the investigation's momentum. The systems built to find the truth depend on the people inside them choosing accountability over protection at the exact moment when protection feels like the only human response. Aaron Davis was 21 years old with a college degree and a girlfriend and a future and a best friend he trusted with his life. What you do with that information, what you demand from the systems around you, what you refuse to accept as normal or inevitable, that is not someone else's responsibility.